Prime Minister has been going to the UNGA consistently since 2014. What is the new message that he would like to tell from a global stage and to a global audience? Yes, COVID diplomacy is important given the context and given recent events. Yes, he's coming just a day after the Quad summit and the emphasis on a free and open Indo-Pacific. But what does the messaging need to be to the international community that here is a democracy, the world's biggest democracy? It's standing for all the right values, it's standing for all the right reasons, as it were, and it is willing to take along all other members of the International Committee of Nations who have similar concerns and similar interests.
Yeah, you already said it and summed it up, Zaka. There's no doubt that Prime Minister always tries to project India's contributions to global prosperity and security as a rising power. That's the kind of stature and the gravitas he'd like to present before the world always. And that's why we don't condescend to the level of our Western neighbor. And I think he always lists many domestic achievements also along the way. In fact, that's been his trademark style, because remember, what happens within India is not purely domestic, because we're talking about 1.3 billion people. If 1.3 billion people are governed well, if 1.3 billion people have protection from this global pandemic, if they are emerging out of it successfully, 1.3 billion people's living standards are rising. Even sometimes he has mentioned even welfare schemes, gigantic ones. For example, during the pandemic, we provided free food and rations for almost 800 million people. This is like 1/6 of humanity almost. So I think he's going to highlight the scale of India and the dramatic transformation going on within our country. And yes, our contributions, like you said, for vaccine diplomacy, we are resuming the vaccine exports. The US and the Quad partners have also appreciated our contributions and are looking forward to that. And climate, remember, this is the big Biden agenda and also the UN agenda this time. And our commitment to renewables, the speed at which we are transforming our energy grid and moving towards green technology, I think those are the things that are very commendable, that put us out as a leader on the world stage. And these are the universal values. So that's the great thing about Narendra Modi. Whenever he does his speeches for these big diplomatic events, he looks for what is the common denominator which every country, barring some terrorist states or some hostile nations like China, most of the world, what are they looking for? And he knows that, and he has the pulse for it. And I'm sure that he's going to press the right buttons, which will appeal to the larger audience. And always, every speech of his tends to be historic. So there will be new things, but it'll also be based on this, core interests and projecting the core interests in a very intelligent and sophisticated way.
Erin Watson-Lynn, we'll talk about the Western flank in this first part of the discussion, which is why I'm pressing on what's happening in Afghanistan.